Okay, for today's video, we're going to do something a little bit different, something we haven't really done with these videos so far, and that is some bass drum technique. So what I'm going to do is this is just a little introduction. I'm going to shift over to a view of my foot, and we're going to work on some bass drum technique ideas, as well as a few bass drum groove ideas to try and get your bass drum technique better. Alrighty, so bear with me while I just switch over. Okay, so here we are now in the bass drum position, and hopefully you can see this okay. So anyways, what we're going to talk about is how to get the most effective stroke out of your bass drum. And essentially what I do is pretty much the same I do with my hands. I utilize a form of the molar stroke. Now it's a slightly bastardized form. It's not a pure molar stroke, but it is very similar. And there's a throwing motion, and there's also a sort of a whip that takes place, okay? Now, first of all, I just want to demonstrate where you should be on the pedal. So if you can see, I'm about 3/4 of the way up the pedal, and my heel is sitting on the back part of the pedal, which is right here, and I'm always making contact with the pedal. Never do this. Create space between your foot and the pedal. Your foot should always be engaged with the pedal, because as soon as you take your foot off the pedal, this is what happens. You lose control. It starts to randomly go off on its own, and that's not what you want. You want to always be in control. So if you to understand this technique, if you put the beater tight against the bass drum head and you have your heel up, your heel is positioned up. I'm actually just going to move this pad here for a second. So your heel is positioned up. If you just release your heel or your ankle in almost a whipping motion, or just a relaxed motion to start with, actually, what happens is the beater naturally comes off the bass drum head. And all I'm doing is dropping my foot. Okay? So that's the first part you practice. Like that. And just get used to bringing your heel back. You're burying it and releasing. Okay? Now, you actually don't want to bury the beater. We're just burying and releasing for an exercise. In actual execution, what takes place is you're coming off the head in one motion. So, very quickly, you'll see what I do. See how my heel comes up? So it's heel off the pedal, toes on the pedal, and then I drop it, drop my heel, and it creates a whipping motion. And that's basically the most effective technique that I've discovered with the bass drum. Now when you're playing doubles, sometimes if you're playing multiple strokes rather, I'm going to keep my heel up until the last stroke. So if I do 3, I'm releasing on the 3rd. So it's almost like tension and release. This is the tension, there's the release. So if I'm playing a double, which is more common, it has 16th notes or 30 seconds, I'm doing this. So it's strike and drop. But I'm doing it all in one motion. And you'll notice I never lose contact with the actual drum pedal itself, the bass. Notice how the beater comes right off, and immediately I can establish control. It's not fluttering around. It's always control. So here's a quick exercise. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. Okay? So Practice that, and then you'll be amazed at how much you can get speed going. Now, when you get a little bit better at this, bring the pad back. We can add quarter notes with the hands. So I know you can't see my hands, but I'm going right, left. So I'm going to go eighth notes, quarter notes up top. Now you'll notice sometimes when I'm doing them in a series, I keep contact, but my foot stays up high until the last stroke, and then I release. You can do that, or you can release as an accent. But so now, as a groove. Okay, so that's my approach to the bass drum. It takes a while to get it, so remember, tension, release. It'll really help you to avoid the drag on the bass drum where it flutters. And some people have that problem where they hit the bass drum, they bury it, and then you hear little bass drum. You don't want that. You just want to hear a nice solid strike and come off the head, because the head's going to resonate, the bass drum's going to sound better, and overall it's a much better technique sound. You won't get tired. You're going to last the whole show if you're playing a gig. Okay, awesome. Whoops. Okay, that is our lesson for today. We'll see you soon. Take care.